unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with this app lately. Seems like what I'm doing. That's old guy using his phone here. I feel like I'm turning into that person that doesn't know how to do anything electronics wise. All right, let's try this one more time. So sorry about that, people. I don't know what's going on with I don't know if it's the app or the Starlink or whatever, but I've never really had this problem where I continually get disruptions when I'm doing a live stream, so it's kind of frustrating. So hang on one second here. I'm getting this all put back on here. All right, there we go. All right, we're good. All right, so what I was saying though, hey, what's up, Danya? How's your knee doing? Hope you're doing all right. Hope everything's going good with your recovery and everything like that. You'll be back on trail in no time flat. Found some cool places in Colorado that I didn't tell you about that are pretty awesome. So let's see. Blame it on Pebbles. That's a funny name. What's up, Vivian? How's it going? Yeah, I'm starting to feel better. I still have my coughing every day, and it's like a slow recovery, but it's starting to feel like I'm on the road to recovery finally. It's only been 3.5 weeks, you know. So, but here at the property though, I think that what I want to do is get one of those bush hogs, and I'll show you what I'm looking at here. Hang on a second. Grab the old computer, and that way, this is gonna it's like an investment in my health to make it to where I'm not just killing my body, you know, getting rid of these bushes that are out here. So let's see, down your knee is good, right on. Just want to step on. Well, I hope everything continues to go awesome, because I know that that's been bothering you for a while. So I know when my mom got her knee replaced, she was like, man, it's amazing the difference, because I didn't realize how much pain I was in all the time. So but let me show you something here. This is kind of the one I'm looking at. Let's see which one here. So it would be the DR. They're called DR Pro Walk Behind commercial walkers, or well, it's not a commercial walker, but it's basically a field and brush mower. But then what I could do is once I'm done like clearing those areas and the tall grass has gotten a lot bigger and stuff like that, I can mow the tall grass with it too. So it'd be like this right here. And they're expensive. I mean, it's $3,100, which that's pricey. But you can do different attachments on the front. And one of them is a snow blade, and then also a landscaping blade as well. And then you have other stuff like, you know, like a mulcher and different things. But I would probably just use the obviously the mowing attachment, but then also to the blade attachment for snow and stuff like that, and also for landscaping. So I'm thinking about that, and then also that's going to help me in the lower section of my land, because I've only focused so far on one of the washes that comes through my place in the lower section there. But on the other side of my property, on the north side of my property, there's another wash that comes through, and it's just as good. And I haven't done anything with that yet. And I'm thinking that if I get the walker machine, I could put a landscaping blade on the front, and that'd really help me with building check dams down there, and also in the other section, and just moving more dirt around and stuff like that. Because right now I do it with a shovel and a wheelbarrow, and you know it's pretty labor intensive. And I wanted to show you guys too, in the lower section of my place, this is how much water comes through during the storms. Because you see my place right up here, and then this is the lower section. This is where I've been putting all the check dams so far. But look how much water comes through there. So this was the main one that comes in right here, and I put in a ton of different check dams on that, and then as a result of it, it's spreading it out over in this sections over here and then over here as well. So I created like 3 new channels just by putting in those check dams, and all that water is soaking into the ground there. And then on the other side, on the north side, there's even more of an opportunity for building huge check dams because it's a lot deeper channel. So what's up, Isaac? How's it going, man? So so the next video that I have is going to talk about those two areas and what I'm doing to let's see, is this the one? No. And what I'm doing to slow down the water there, because like I was talking with my neighbors, and we're all in agreement that it would be awesome if we all put check dams all throughout our properties. So hey, what's up, Tim? How's it going, man? How's things down there? Is it nice and green in your area? I'm sure it's green up here with all the rain that we had last week, and it looks like we've got more rain coming this not this weekend, but next weekend. Like supposed to start up I think on Thursday and go through Monday or something like that. So I'm loving being back with this rain. I was just down walking the lower meadow just now, and that was the footage that I was showing on the drone stuff. And I mean, just even a half-inch down and the ground is still wet. So even with all the sun that we've had and the warmer temps over the past week, you know, it's still, the ground is holding a ton of water right now, which is awesome. But back to the check dams and also to my neighbors, we were all talking, and it's like, why don't we give it a go and see if we can make it to where the check dams, you know, if we put enough of them in, like if we put like 100 in this area, what, you know, how would that impact our immediate area? Because the way that my property sits, let me show you. I got drone of this, and it kind of shows where I'm at here. So essentially, what you're looking at here, so you're Isaiah, you're in Southern Arizona, cool. So what you're looking at here is there's the road over there. My place is right up here. There's two washes. There's this wash here, and there's this wash on this side. And then let's see here. And then they converge and go out. Let's see, is that it? No, that's not it. Here it is. They converge into this one, which is a much larger stream, a seasonal stream that comes through here. And so if we put check dams all through this and all the way over to my buddy Darren's property, and then there's a lake over there that, or a little reservoir area that this dumps into, and it's like, why don't we go ahead and from the mountain behind me, the ridge where the water comes off the side of the ridge and it creates like this awesome waterfall, and then that's where it kind of starts to come down into my land. Why don't we just start doing check dams up there? Because there's a lot of places to where there's, you know, it's a pretty big drop off, and that it's a pretty steep route for the water to go. So it's created all these shelves already, and just all you got to do is put rocks around the edge where the water is spilling out, and it'll start to fill up in there. And then what that could do is potentially, if there are any sort of small aquifers or anything, any reservoir areas in that rock, because it's lava rock, and lava rock, it always has, you know, it's really easy for caverns to form and water to carve out caverns and things like that. So if you were to fill those up, how would that impact this area? And then also all that water that's being held back with the main check dams that I have in the lower section, and also I put 3 in the middle section now, and they're pretty deep as well. They were holding back a tremendous amount of water, and then it was slowly draining through. And Darren was saying over his place, like, man, it's awesome. Even after the rains hit now, you know, once the rains stop, it used to be that the wash would stop flowing almost immediately. He's like, now it runs for like a day. I was like, yeah, it's because of the check dams that I have. It's holding the water back. I was like, imagine if we had that times 10 to this area, how long would that run after the rains? You know, because it's basically just holding back the water, and it's just leaking real slow through the check dams. And so that's kind of the long-term goal around here, is to go through the properties, and it's we added it up. It's 134 acres of land that we would go through and build these check dams all over the place. And I like building them. I mean, I figured out with Meadow what she likes to do. Well, check her out real quick. Look at this. She's a little cutie. But what I figured out is that, you know, every morning I take her for a walk around the place, and we start here, we go around, go down to the lower meadow where we've been working on the check dams, and then around this way over here, we walk, and then we go around the north side of the property, and that's the area that I haven't done any check dams so far. And well, I started building one yesterday, and I got it built. So I figure, you know, each day I could, when I'm out with her in the morning time, it's nice and cool. There's rocks everywhere down there, so it's really easy to make a check dam. And if I build one a day, you know, within 3 months, we'll have almost 100. So just build one of them a day, and then after the rains, you can go through and you can tell by the way the water tracked where it's leaking the most, and then you can kind of patch it with rocks and sticks and stuff like that. Another thing I did too is that there was an area down there where I wanted to open it up a little bit and open up these pine trees, because there's a lot of baby pine trees that were growing underneath this old school juniper. So I cut the juniper down, and the juniper had a tremendous amount of branches on it. Those junipers, I mean, the amount of biomass that they have is pretty impressive. And so I cut up the limbs and I just threw them in the channels where the water's coming through, because that'll act as check dams too. It basically just acts as like kind of beaver activity, even though it's not really well put together. But what I did was I just cut them to where each branch would go in there. I just kept on stacking them and throwing them in there and throwing rocks on top of that too. So that way, when the storm comes through this weekend, that's supposed to be, well, not this weekend, but this coming weekend, so next weekend. When that storm comes through, it'll hold back that much more sediment and get those check dams sealed up. And so I really just want to make a go of it here, of, you know, making it while I am here, you know, because I'll be bouncing around truck camping and stuff like that. But while I'm building out the truck, I also want to work on the land, and I think getting that brush hog is going to be really beneficial, because I can knock out so much and get that much further ahead. And then if I need to use any of that mulch for anything, you know, I'll have it available for all those plants that I mulch down. But to get rid of these bushes, it's just, you know, bending over and using a little tiny chainsaw to get the bigger ones, and then, or bigger branches on those bushes, and then to use the hedge trimmers on the smaller ones. It's just too labor intensive. It takes too long. And so if I could use, all right, cool, we're back. There's when a call comes through, it pauses everything, so that's why I paused for a second there. So let's see. Dear Drew, I enjoy watching your progress. Oh, thanks, I appreciate that. I love doing it. I think it's a ton of fun. It's nice to see results. You know, when I first got this place, man, it was just chucked. It was really choked out with all those bushes. And now that I've been able to get the bushes out, more wildlife comes around. You know, I can see, it's kind of better for security, because I can see if people are coming or not. Because some of these bushes were as tall as me. Where my camper is right now, the bushes were so big here that when I pulled it in here, the bushes on the back side and on the back of where the bumper is on the rear, those bushes were so tall that they were as tall as this camper. You know, and that's a lot of biomass to remove by hand. And so I think that in order to kind of save my body, but also just to speed things up around here, you know, once I get rid of those bushes, that's a lot of water that they take out of the ground. So that's why in the areas where I did, you know, I have removed them, the tall grass has taken off and gotten real healthy. I like to have that across the entire land. And then when the tall grass goes dormant, and I'm, you know, if I'm here, I can take out the mower and go through and mow down the grass. And that way the fire danger isn't as bad and all that stuff. But I'm loving being back here. The temperatures are incredible right now. It's supposed to be a high of 70 today, and tonight it's going to be a low of 35, and possibly very slight chance of snow. And then got cold temperatures tomorrow night too, and then it's going to warm back up for a little bit. So, yeah, DTB, I don't know what's up. It seems like the past couple live streams that I've done, it doesn't matter if it's on the computer or, you know, with the phone, the Starlink will start to buffer, and I don't know why. It's never done that before. So hopefully it's just a glitch and stops doing it, because it's frustrating. Like, I start to get going on a live stream and it's like, yeah, it just cuts it to an end right there, which is kind of annoying. But for those who may have missed it on the first live stream that we did here, I was pointing out that I've got this new oven here, and it's propane. And gonna be using that in here, and I'm also thinking too of redoing the camper. Let's see here. Is this thing got? I think it's got some stuff on. Hang on one second. Maybe that'll help. I'm thinking of redoing the camper inside here, because hey, what's up, Elsewhere? Happy Saturday to you as well. Because if we look here, I want to show you guys something. Okay, so this is kind of like looking towards the front of my camper. It's a little bit of a mess right now, but I'm gonna switch batteries. I'm gonna start using the Apex 300 in here, the Blue Eddy one. So that's at my friends Jerry and Kevin's in Colorado, but I plan to go back there soon, so I'll pick it up when I'm there, and get rid of the EcoFlow Delta Pro 2s. They're good batteries. I'm gonna keep them just for other things, like possibly when I build a house, I can use those for the guest quarters, which will be this camper. But in the meantime, what I was thinking is this is kind of a wasted space area. And yeah, Gabriel, that's what I'm looking forward to, is making muffins and cookies and stuff like that, and cornbread. And this is way too big of a table. I don't need this much of a table. And it's kind of wasted too. Like the range on the front here, if you look at this, the range is so close that it kind of kills any space you would have here to prepare food. And you're not going to prepare food back here. This range should have been back there. That way you'd have a big area here. If that range would be all the way back, then it would make sense, but it doesn't for this table. So take this table out completely and make it to where I would put a love seat there. And then I'd be able to take advantage of all the windows that I have there and look out to the west and check out the sunsets and all those things, you know, when I've got that. And then move this table over to here and cut it down in size substantially to where this section over here is kind of just wasted space. And I could put the oven right over here and make a table that comes like this and then goes down like that, and then have some storage underneath for, you know, pots and pans and stuff like that. Still have a place over there to collect water from a sink, and then I could vent any sort of cooking out the window there. I could put a little fan in the window. And then when I go truck camping, you can take this with you because it's portable, and it's simply just a hose like this. I mean, you can get these at any hardware store. So I'm going to get one that's longer than this. This isn't long enough for the truck. Because ideally what I'd like to do is tap in the propane that's on my tailgate and then have this go into the truck. Okay, here, I'll show you. We'll take this outside and I'll put it in the truck. And we'll take it outside and I'll put it in the truck, and we'll show you just how it kind of fits and what I'm thinking for with the floor plan with the truck. So let's do this here, and then hang on, Meadow. All right, let me go grab the stove, and I'll show you where it fits in here. Let's do it like this. All right, so essentially what I want to do is I want to put the stove in here, and it'd be on a little shelf, and it would go in like that. And then, I mean, that fits perfect in there. And then on the back side, this is where you can just open this up, and then you've got port vents that go out that are, I guess you can't hear me over there. Open that up, and then you've got the vents that go outside, so if there's any propane that's leaking from the stove, since the propane is heavier than air, it would go down there and go out the bottom instead of accumulating and potentially causing a fire or something like that. So I think this is going to work out good in here. And like I was saying, what I would do is I just put it on a shelf and get it up a little bit, because the intake is right here. I want to get the intake above that shelf on the side there, and because it kind of sticks out a couple, 3 or 4 inches. So get it up to about that height, and then I'm going to build the bench seat essentially right there. Goes across that way, and then the battery will be back over there. And so the bench seat will go about 75% over to about there. Then it's going to need to bump up and go across, because that's where the battery is going to be. Then I'll have some storage in the back over there for electronics and cords and things of that nature. And then my DC-to-DC charger, you can see it's right there. That's what powers. It's like 500 watts of power when I'm driving around. It's so it's nice to have because I can have that going, and then I just got two 200-watt panels. So I'm gonna have those over the top, one on the back and one on the front. That's gonna be my solar. Because when I was rolling around in Colorado just recently, I didn't have solar. I had one little tiny 100-watt panel, but that's why I was bouncing around frequently. It was because when my battery would get low, I'd just drive to a new spot and use my DC to DC charger that runs off my alternator. So that's I liked having that thing. But anyway, this is from the grill. It's from Hike Crew, and it's a new one. Camp Chef used to make these, and I think it's Camp Chef used to make these, but they weren't rated very good. They had like a 3.3 star rating. This is a 4.7 star rating, over 1,000 reviews. So they re-engineered it. The only thing is that I've heard is that the thermometer that's on the front of the grill, you can see, or not grill, but like the oven portion there, you can see it right there. That's not accurate in that position. You need to, like they said, like basically get one for the interior that you put in there, because that one will show a reading that isn't nearly as accurate. It's like it'll say it's a lot less hot than it is. Oh, thanks, Donnie. Thanks for the super chat. Let me see what that says there. For bedside biscuits, nice. Yeah, well, that's what I'm wanting to do, is have it to where, when I'm chilling in here, I can just basically be cooking, and I can just sit like right there and then cook right here. And then, with the battery back over there, that leaves the rest of this wide open for me right here. So I can figure out, like, if I want to have like a little place to kick up my feet or something like that, and have like an Ottoman style kind of seating in there. I could do something like that, or I'm not really sure. But I mean, it's not a ton of space, but it's enough to where it's comfortable now. And that's one thing I noticed when I was out, is like, I was like, man, I'm sleeping so much better. Before I got sick, obviously I was sleeping better. I wasn't sleeping good when I was sick, but it's like, I got out and just realized having more comfort is the key for me these days. Traveling, because back when I was doing it in the truck topper for so long, I mean, I just wore my body down. That with the parasite, and Sierra's cancer and all that stuff, it was good for us to get off the road for a little bit. But now that I got back on the road, I was having a blast. And I just wanted to come back here for a little bit, build out the truck, and then we'll figure out our winter plans. I'd like to do a slide out extension for this, and put a stove jack in there. And that way, I could rock a stove in the wintertime on top of the diesel heater. But we'll see how far we get with the build out. Since it's supposed to be kind of like a chill winter out here, I may not have to really build a slide out extension this winter. I could maybe hold off until next winter, because that might take another week or two to get that all sorted out. So let's see, Gabriel, are you feeling better? Kinda. I mean, I'm starting to feel a little bit better each day, but it's slow. It's just kind of hanging around. I'm like, I'll wake up in the morning coughing quite a bit, and I still have a headache and everything. But ibuprofen helps with that, and then just staying on top of fluids and like emergency and all those different things, Theraflu, those things. So it's helping. I'm better than I was, man. When I left Colorado, I was in rough shape. Like, I felt bad. Like, I was coughing constantly. It was real tight chest. I thought for sure, I was like, man, I thought it was like bronchitis, sinusitis combo, but it was just COVID and bronchitis. So, but it's working its way through my system, and I'm feeling better. So we'll be in good shape. What I was saying with earlier about with the oven, what I'd do is I tap into the propane that I have right here. And this is kind of a smaller one. So I don't know if you've seen some of the other, let's see, what's going on with that? I don't know if you've seen some of the other tune campers that are out there, but they have on the back here. What I love about this camper all the way around is all this T-track that you have, because all you do is just get this type of nut that you put in there, and there's this bolt that goes into it, and you can attach anything anywhere around here. So anyway, so they have like a 20, or it's either 10 or 20 gallon propane tank that you can put on the outside. So I may do that as well, and probably put it over on that one, and then that way I can just port the propane, hose right in there and be good to go. But the goal is what I want to do with the build out is when I get to camp, I just pop the top and I'm set up. You know, I don't want to be setting up anymore and spending a ton of time shuffling stuff around. All I want to do is just roll in there and you know, like pop the top. Basically, all I gotta do for the bed is take some pillows from the, you know, laying down in the truck bed and put them up on the bed in the camper. And then if I can have the interior done to where I don't have to shuffle around gear, I want to mount a diesel heater underneath that quarter panel right there, and then have that poured in. So that's going to be the next step, because the diesel heater that I have from H Gallery, they got a new one out for this year, and it's pretty cool. There's a thermostat on the little keychain that is the remote control that controls it, and the keychain with that thermostat on it, you can set a range on the diesel heater now to stay within in like a certain temperature range, and when it falls underneath that temperature range, it'll kick on. So it's almost like having the thermostat. You know, it's the next best thing. And that's a big development for the Chinese diesel heaters, because for the longest time it was just either on or off. Another thing they did too is they improved the fuel pump to where it doesn't make the clicking noise anymore, because that was a big knock on them as well. You know, like that's why people would buy the Webasto's, is because, granted, they're $1,200, but they don't make any noise. But the Chinese diesel heaters, it would go click, 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 click constantly. The fuel pump would, and they've got that sorted out as well. It doesn't make any noise anymore. It does when it's starting up. You can hear the clicking, but once it's running, you can't hear it. So it's kind of nice. But the thing is that, you know, it's a big toolbox because it's portable. It's all in one. I'll show you it. It's right here. Got it. Just poured it into my my camper. And I mean, I like it. It's good. It works well. It's a 8 kilowatt, which is one of the highest ones out there. This is one of the biggest ones. You could open it from the other side, then you can see how much gas you have in there, and if you need to service anything, you can. But that's a little too big to put up underneath the quarter panel, because what I'm going to do here is I'll show you. Let me take you off the tail here. Underneath here is where I want the diesel heater to go. And if you look here, there's this huge cavity back here, this big old cavern above this plastic thing. So back up underneath here is where you can mount it. And then what I would do is I would cut away those plastic deal right there, because that's where the heat duct comes in for the diesel heater anyway. Just cut that back entirely and leave the little vent on the front, and then have the hot air continue to come in here like it normally does, but just not have any of the, just take this whole thing out, you know, and leave this so I could obviously put this in there. But then have the diesel heater mounted back behind here, because they're pretty small, but not very big. And then, you know, that way when I get to camp, I don't have to set up the diesel heater and port it into there. They just turn it on. And then you can put a metal plate underneath there, so that way no rocks can come up and hit it and possibly damage it or anything like that. And it keeps it clean and all those things. So there's stuff you can do to protect it, and then you just mount it underneath there and you're done, which is pretty simple. So that's probably what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to graduate to eventually. But it's nice having this diesel heater here at my place, and especially for this time of the year out here, because the daytime temperatures are still pretty nice. You know, we're topping out at 70 today, but next week there's a day where it's supposed to skip to like 75. So it's still not, you know, it's not cold. It's not winter yet at all. But the evening times are getting close to freezing. And so, you know, having the diesel heater is nice, because I can just put it on like the first setting. There's 10 different heating settings on it. You put on the first setting and just let it go, and it's like perfect for the nighttime and in the camper, because the camper's got plenty of insulation. Now in the truck, since the top, when you pop it up, since that canvas doesn't have like the best R value, just because, you know, it's canvas, it doesn't have good R value compared to hard side. But since it doesn't, you know, have that much insulation, I have to run the diesel heater in there like 3 or 4 setting. And then if it's really cold, you know, you crank it up to like, you know, 9 or 10. but I don't keep it on that much. But you can run that diesel heater now. They have like a new combustion design on it, and it's made out of aluminum, and apparently that helps with fuel efficiency. And so it's 38% more fuel efficient than the previous one. So if you run that thing on low, you can run it for 50 hours continuously on 1.5 gallons of diesel. So that, I mean, and that's running nonstop. That's not clicking on and off for heating. That's having heat go continuously for 50 hours. So it's pretty cheap to have it because you're only running it at night. And basically, what I'll do is I usually wake up like once during the evening. So I wake up like 2 o'clock. It's starting to get cold. Well, you just click on your diesel heater, and it costs you, less than $1 for the rest of that day to keep you warm. So pretty good to have. I wish I would have done diesel heaters earlier because there were some times when Sierra and I were out in that truck. Man, I mean, it was a sufferfest. We had one day where it was -17, and we slept in the truck. And I was like, yeah, we're not gonna do that again. That was too cold. That's when I ordered the Bighorn 3 back in like 2015. So let's go back inside though. We're gonna say what's up to Meadow. She's in here. I'm sure she's antsy. I'm looking to get outside. What's up, girl? Oops. Camera sideways. What are you doing, sweetie? I'd say Meadow has been awesome lately. She's really coming into her own. She loved being out on the road when we were out there running around. What's up, girl? Come up here. Come on. When we were out there running around, and I figured out too that like what she wants to do when I'm fishing is she essentially just wants to be right next to me. Like she doesn't. Like that's why she was making all that racket, and when I initially tried to fly fish. What's up, girl? What you got? When I initially tried to fly fish when I first adopted her, she'd go ballistic because I'd tie her up to a tree near me. Well, all she wants to be is like next to me. So what we do now is when I'm out fishing with her, and what we were doing in Colorado was I just tie her leash around my waist, and then she just goes with me wherever. And it's just awesome. Like every time I would catch a trout, she'd want to kiss the catch, and all she wants to do is lick it once and smell it, and then we're good to go. What you got in there, man? What's that? Hey, what are you doing, sweetie? I think her anal glands need to be expressed. It's a little not so pleasant smelling in here. What are you thinking, girl? Look at this face. I know, pumpkin. So we're planning on just laying low though. Hopefully I'll get to feeling better by tomorrow or soon, and we'll be good to go. So what's up, Zach? Yeah, everything's going good here. I'm glad to be back. It feels good to be in the camper, and it's helping me get on the mend a little bit quicker. Because I was sitting around in the truck and just sitting around all day out in the forest, and I thought, might as well go, back to the place in Arizona. That way I can at least sit around here and be feeling better. Because I think Meadow was getting kind of stir crazy as well. Because we were going to go up to Idaho. We were going to go to that red button ramble that Larry put on. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was quite a few content creators that met up at a lake in Idaho. And it was something that Larry put on. He's going to do it twice a year. And so I was going to go to that, but I thought, it'd be kind of a jerk move to show up and not be feeling good and get everybody else sick. So went ahead and skipped on that and decided to come back, and now we're here. And, surprisingly, the rain's been pretty good for the month of September, so it's been gorgeous around here. The Tallgrass and everything is incredible, and temperatures have been great, and we got more rain coming this coming week. So I'm hoping that what I could do is show the other check dams. I know, pumpkin. I could show the other check dams that I've worked on. I could show those in action, and I know, sweetie. And then kind of show the long-term plan with some more drone footage. Once the water comes through again, I could do a more comprehensive comprehensive explanation of how we're going to connect the properties together with check dams out here, and kind of see what sort of an impact we can make. Because I think if we all worked together and put the check dams in order and all that stuff, and make them work together, I really think that we can make this area a lot more lush. Because all the native plants need is the groundwater to be recharged. And so, if we're able to get some of that water that's going on the surface down into the ground pretty quickly, especially utilizing the tall grass with the root structure that they have, because that's basically like a water delivery system and a big water sponge. If we could do 100 check dams through here, I've got 20 on my property now. So take that times 5. And yeah, Tim, it'll definitely attract more wildlife. And you know, as long as we don't have standing water, as long as it's moving water, it won't be too bad with mosquitoes or anything like that. But as long once the water gets stagnant though, and the mosquitoes lay their eggs in there, that's kind of a problem. But luckily, it's far enough away from my camper. You know, it's basically the way my land works is I'm up on a big dome. Okay, so on both sides of the dome, on the lower sections where they go into the kind of the meadow areas, both of those are where the water's coming through in my place. And so I've got a whole new section that I haven't even touched it yet. You know, so outdoor pros. Yeah, I'm thinking of a bunch of different things. Also thinking like Zuni bowls, stuff like that. So Zach, yeah, I'm gonna do some winter camping. I wanted to go out in the truck. Like I want to get the diesel heater mounted underneath that quarter panel, and then be able to go out on that a little bit. Because the nice thing about being out here is, you know, Flagstaff, they get clobbered with snow. Like they get crushed with snow, and so camping around there is a blast because you know you can go around and you get into some pretty good spots that get a lot of accumulation. It's just kind of dicey with the roads getting out. So hey, what's going on? Nash, how you doing? Everything's going good here. Meadows just chilling. I think she wants to go outside here, so we're gonna probably log off soon and go do something outdoors. Take her for a walk around the place. But so every time that I'm walking around though in the morning, taking her out for a walk, I'm building a new check dam. And so you know we'll see what we can do. I'd like to get to 100 check dams within a couple months. And yeah, you take care too, DTB. Enjoy the rest of the day. And then once you know, then we can kind of go from there and see how things look. But they're saying for the winter, probably not the snowiest winter. The reason why the first half of the monsoon season was not here was just due to the weather pattern that was bumping the moisture up in the jet stream, and it was going over to New Mexico. That's why New Mexico and West Texas were having all those floods. It was because their rain was doubled up from us not getting it over here. But now that it's sitting here, you know, hopefully October will be good with rain, and then we can get a few snowstorms. And then next year, they're saying we should be in a La Nina pattern, which is a good monsoon pattern. So maybe we could, you know, see those check dams in action. And then up here, you know, like I was saying on the previous stream before it got the tech difficulties just about a half hour ago, you know, I want to get that brush hog, that machine, and the walk behind mower, the big time mower, and get rid of all these bushes around here because I can't stand those things. And just focus on just the pine trees and some of the old growth junipers. Still eliminate the western juniper, which is the invasive one. And I'm also going through and pulling weeds out of the ground, just some invasive weeds that I spot. Every time I see them, I'm pulling them out. So, I mean, I realize it's a long-term plan out here, but I'm starting to see a lot of fruits of my labor from the first, like, 4 years of work on the place. And it just gives me motivation to do more and more. And then it's cool that, you know, if my neighbors want to incorporate some of this in their places as well, we might be able to get the whole community on board, which would be great. Get everybody putting check dams all over their properties throughout here, and then we'll have a little oasis in the high desert. So, well, I think Meadow wants to go outside. She keeps giving me the nod, and I think she might have to use the restroom and stuff. So I'm gonna go take her for a long walk, and we're gonna kind of get the rest of our day going here. And then I do have the video for tomorrow. It covers the last storm that came through, and it kind of shows the different areas where the water comes through. It shows both the different channels. The channel on the lower section and the channel on the north side of the property, the deep channels that have water that come through, and then kind of like my long-term plan of what we plan to do, and then some on-the-ground footage as well. I did get a new camera, so check this out. I went with the Pocket Osmo 3, so and then I've got a microphone for it and some other stuff. So the video quality is going to be better because lately all of my GoPros just have died on me. I've got 3 of them and they've all kind of gone out. And then my camera went out because I dropped in the lake. And then my Canon's kind of hard to film with. So I'm excited for that Osmo 3 because it's really good film quality. Like it takes really good video. And then it also can film at night, because that's the problem with the GoPros is they can't film at night. But that one can, and the video quality is fantastic. So that'll be fun to have. It's going to really improve what I can film and I'll be able to bring you guys along with more of the day-to-day stuff. Because like when it's real dark in here, I just don't film because it's oh yeah, Tim, that's another thing too. It's got good face tracking, so I can put it on a tripod. I can track the face. I could also hold it out here, and if I'm moving around and stuff, it'll kind of keep me in the center of the frame. But anyway, so I'm really excited for that because then I can film like early morning scenes and late evening scenes if it's raining out and stuff like that, and it won't be so dark. Because with the cameras that I have now, when I put that into the editing software I have, you just couldn't see anything, and so this is going to help film a lot more stuff. So anyway, that's what's shaking around here. So just wanted to say what's up to you guys. Like I said, we'll have a new video for tomorrow, and that's it. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll do another live stream probably maybe next weekend because we're supposed to have rain next weekend. So I'd like to show you all some of the earthworks in action when it's raining. So yeah, Lewis, I do have a lot of work to do. So, and looking like, once the snow starts flying here is when I'll probably start going back out and truck camping a bunch. But until then, we're going to work on the truck camper build, work on the property, and also work on this camper itself. Just kind of make some improvements and just keep upgrading stuff out here. And like I was thinking this morning about how far I've come since I first got out here. And when I first got out here, I was truck camping with that slide out extension, and for the landscaping tools, I had a rake, a shovel, an axe, and a wheelbarrow. And then that's how I was clearing the land. Then I don't recommend doing that. That sucks. So I'm very happy with the progress I've made so far. And now I just want to kick it up into high gear and really get rid of the bushes in here, make it to where the wildlife can walk through easily, get the water going to just strictly the pine trees or the tall grass, depending on what's in that area, and not feed these bushes that, just in my opinion, don't have any use out here. So, all right, everybody. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good Saturday, and then we'll see you in tomorrow's video.